Hello there, Sagittarius. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly tarot forecast. We're going to go in depth. I do apologize for having these out so late for July. The first time frame that we're going to look at is from July 11th through the 18th. So that's going to be an 8-day time frame. Like I said, I apologize for having these out so late. I literally decided June 30th, I want to do in-depth monthlies. And obviously, in-depth monthlies take a little bit of time. So, you guys just had 2 cards flipped. We're going to take both of those. So anyway, in-depth monthlies take a little time, so I am behind in getting them out. I'm hoping that come September, I'll be on schedule. I'm not quite sure if I will be on August, by the time August rolls around, but hopefully by the time September rolls around, I will be. Anyway, let's put down the rest of your cards for this time frame. And let's make room for your cards. All right. If you guys want to fast forward through this part, some people like to witness the whole card shuffling and putting down, but I know not everybody does. So if you want to zoom through this and just scroll right over to where I start talking, feel free. Certainly you're not going to offend me if you do that. La da 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 da, la da da da. Cold legs. Gotta put a little blankie over my legs. Okay, let's take a peek. July 11th through the 18th. For Sagittarius, the first thing that we're looking at is your environment. Now, environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. Many times it's home, especially now, but sometimes it's school, sometimes it's work. So any place where you have energy or effort invested, that's what we're looking at when we look at your environment. And what we have going on here is that there's something in your environment that has really got you stressed out. You may even be having a hard time sleeping, but there's something that just really has you on edge, and it's something that just is not changing. And I think you do have the option to make some changes so that this thing is not stressing you out all the time, but you have chosen to keep things the same. Not sure why this is. This is your decision not to change things, not to transform things so that they're less stressful. It's like you're holding yourself in this really stressful situation when it comes to your environment. Maybe you're afraid that if you change it that there won't be an improvement. Maybe you're afraid if you change things you're still going to be just as stressed out. I can't imagine any other reason not to change it. Let's see what else comes up, Sagittarius. We've got a lot more to look at here, so we'll see what comes out. Next thing that we want to look at is what's going on in your subconscious. So these are going to be things that are you're thinking about sort of on the back burner all the time. So once in a while that'll come up to conscious thought, but mostly it's going to be sort of coming up in the background, like when you're sleeping, when you're doing sort of any kind of jobs that don't require a lot of thought to do those, or creativity. It looks to me like you're thinking about somebody who's in your sphere of influence who has a problem with obsessing about something or has a problem with an addiction to something, and you're really thinking about, you know, is it possible that they can overcome this, or how can they overcome this? I think that this situation has brought a lot of disappointment to you, and I think right now you're really confused about if things can improve or not. And this may be what's going on with your home situation. You may have a lot of stress because, you know, there's nothing changing with your home situation. Maybe you have made the decision that you're not going to confront this person, that you're going to wait and see how they handle it. Well, I shouldn't say your home situation, your environment. Either way, there's a lot of confusion around this for you. I don't think you know how to handle it or what to do with it. It's brought a lot of disappointment to you. And the confusion is about if things can change, if things can get better, if this person can get this under control and make things better. Somebody in your immediate sphere of influence, I feel like. All right. Next thing we're going to look at is learning style, and then we'll look at communication style for this particular time frame. Okay, so learning style, you definitely are finding out new information right now, and you are looking up or researching things that you have a lot of feeling around. There's a lot of emotion around these things that you're looking at. And some of the things that you're finding out aren't exactly hopeful or helpful, is what it feels like to you. But it is, what you're finding out though is helpful in the sense that it's helping you figure out what direction you need to go. Just having more information is helping you to figure out what direction you need to go here. Now, communication style. I do think you're communicating quite regularly with the people around you, and I think that your communications are quite clear and unchanging. I don't think that you're changing a lot about what you're saying. You're not being wishy-washy about the messages that you're putting out there. And I think you're also, you're not being quiet. You're not just letting things go and seeing how they turn out type of thing. You are definitely putting your opinion out there and any helpful ideas that you have out there. And you are communicating in a way that sort of gives people around you a reality check and grounds them in the actual reality of what's going on. Okay, so that's communication style right now, at least from the 11th through the 18th. Next we're going to look at work. And for me, work can come up as two things, so we're going to look at both ways. So work can be that way that we make a living or what we do to feel productive in the community, either one. And then the other way that work comes in for me is also those things that we do to improve our own self for our own personal satisfaction. Okay? So, it does look like you do have for some of you, I think what you're doing actually is you're leaving behind an old working situation that you've had for a while. You're leaving behind an old commitment and leaving behind an old boss. I see you as releasing yourself from that. Or it may be that because of COVID, they're downsizing and so they're having to release you. Either way, I see you coming out of a situation where somebody else was in charge and where there was a binding contract of some kind, whether it was an employer, whether you were a consultant, whatever was going on there. I'm not exactly sure, but I see that coming to an end. I see you being freed from that. And I think that that's not an issue for you, actually. I think it's really coming up as a blessing because when that happens, you're taking charge of your own work life, and I think that you have some things that you want to do, and so you're entering into another kind of commitment where you're doing something that is more independently oriented than counting on another company or another person to pay you. So more of a self-employed type thing is what direction you're heading as far as work goes between the 11th and the 18th. Now, and I think you have that opportunity because you're being released from where you are, or you're walking away from where you are, one of the two. But I think it's more likely that you're actually being released. I don't think that this is the timing that you particularly chose to walk away. Now the next thing that we're going to look at, Sagittarius, is that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. So, what do we have? I think you're getting back to your roots. You're getting back to the basics of things. You may actually be traveling and going back to some place that feels like home. whether that's a workplace that feels like home and comfortable, or whether that's actually legitimately like a residence that feels comfortable. But it does look to me like you're going back to some place that feels like home. And I feel like you're going there because, or you're going back to your roots in some way or other, whether this is going back to the roots of how you operated as far as bringing in money, or going back to roots as far as relationships. There's something going on here where you're going back to roots, and the reason you're going back to your roots is to be re-strengthened and revitalized. You're needing and ready to be refreshed, revived, and revitalized. So that's one thing we see going on the 11th through the 18th, is you are taking care of that. Now the next thing that we're looking at are those things that you stand for. It looks to me like you're pouring out a lot of energy to really revive some old friendships and get your support network up and running. And it looks like these are what is this, Sagittarius? You know what? I'm not going to say that you're reviving some old friendships. I think you're actually rebuilding. You're building a support network, and you're putting energy and effort into getting to know these people who I think they're in a different headspace than the people that you used to hang out with. These people look at life differently. They have a different perspective. They have a different way of handling life. And I think that you're changing your support network and expanding, let's say expanding your support network, really, because of what you're doing as far as work, because there's been such a big change in work. And so you are looking to find a support network who is filled with people who understand what you're doing and what you're going through, and who can actually be supportive to you as you go through this, where people from your old support network may not have really understood your perspective. How other people see you right now. From the outside looking in, I think people are seeing that you're expanding your support network, that you are making a new crowd for yourself, basically. Excuse me. That you may have been feeling a little bit out in the cold because of the people you were hanging out before not being able to understand you or understand your perspective. And so you're doing something about that to fix that. They also look like they see that this is just beginning, this is not over yet, that this is a process that's going to take some time for you to build up this network. And they're also seeing that it's probably not your favorite thing, Sagittarius. There are difficult parts of building up a new support network, and some of that is, you know, that more time has to go to new people, and you're getting away from people that you used to talk to a lot. Even when you don't have things in common with them anymore, you can still kind of miss them and miss the companionship that they used to bring to the table for you. And I think that that's part of what these other people are seeing, is that there is some of that going on too. Now, the next thing that we're looking at, Sagittarius, is a pivotal point for you during this time frame, something that sort of changes direction of things for you. And what we have going on, Sagittarius, is it looks like you've been feeling like you've been in competition with some of the people in your sphere of influence for a while, and you're tired, you're worn down from that. You're at a point now where you feel like you have accomplished enough that there's no reason for people not to accept you just the way you are, and not try to always make you jump through hoops and be better than the next person. And I think that you are taking a break from that kind of competition. You're not, no. You just don't have the energy for it right now. You don't have the perspective for it right now. You just want to do your own thing without judgment and without having to live up to other people's expectations. You want to do things, that live up to your expectations. As that is going on, This is really coming in at the same time that you're being released from something that you didn't really like anyway. This may tie in with what we saw in work, where you're being released from a work situation that you weren't really enjoying. You wouldn't have chose this time to leave, but you did get released. You did get released from it. And so now that you're released from it, you're not competing anymore. There's no office politics. And you're also not putting out resumes and competing with people right now either. You're taking a break from all of that type of stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's like this is really being highlighted all the way through this pivotal time in the week, or in the 8-day period, that I think you have the opportunity. Actually, the opportunity comes up for you to go back into a situation like that, maybe even that same exact situation, and you're saying, no thank you, I'm just not so keen on that idea right now. I'd rather stick it out myself and do my own Lone Ranger thing than go back at this point. You've already released me. I've already had a taste of freedom. Why should I clasp those velvet handcuffs around my wrists again? That's where you are with that. Now, once we get to the end of the week, what do we see happening? You guys are paying attention to some spiritual things. You guys are learning how to manifest on an energetic level. And you guys have the time to really dig into things that have to do with spirit and reflect on those where you didn't have time for that before. And you're starting to see some benefits from that too. You know, this isn't just wasted time reading books or wasted time meditating. You're seeing some benefits from digging into spirituality and energy and all that type of good stuff. Digging into reflecting on yourself. And you're manifesting some of those things that you want in your life. In spite of the idea that, you know, you've been released from this work situation that you weren't so happy with, you're already, by the time we get to the end of the week, you're already manifesting some good things. You already have people paying you for your services. And like I said, I don't think that this is because you're in a contract with an employer. I think this is because you're doing your own thing and people are valuing your own thing. You may, Sagittarians, even be doing something that is spiritual, or you may be doing some type of therapy where you're helping people to deal with subconscious. This could have to do with things coming up from the subconscious or from energy. And this could even have to do with this could be very energetic or spiritual as well as therapeutic. Any one of those things could be the area that you're working in, and you're doing quite well by the time we get to the end of the week. Good for you. All right, well, the end of the 8 days. Here we are again, Sagittarius. This time we are looking at the time frame from July 19th through the 25th. Let's see what comes up for you this time around. Make room for all the cards. La, da, 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 da. Like I said earlier, if you guys want to just zoom right past this, that's totally fine. You're not really missing anything. Unless you're just really into watching somebody put down cards. Okay, Sagittarians. All right, here's what we have coming up for you guys this time. First of all, we are looking at environment. All right, so Sagittarians, I feel like you are sharing your environment with somebody else. And I feel like this is somebody who is very grounded, very pedantic. They like to take things very slowly, make sure everything is stable. They like to be very cautious. You're a little bit more fiery. You like to move more quickly. You like to do things a little bit spur of the moment, less planned out. And I don't think it's working very well for you two to be sharing this environment. This is two opposites, and it's showing here that that this is just not working out very well for y'all to both be in this environment at the same time, trying to yeah, trying to cooperate in it. You guys are getting on each other's nerves at the very least. At the very least. Okay, next thing that we're looking at has to do with your subconscious leanings. There's somebody that you want to give a second chance to, and you want to have a new beginning with them. And I think your subconscious is working on, well, how could I even make that possible? Like, does that person even want a second chance? How do I make them want a second chance? So I'm not sure that they do, but I think you're hoping they do. You would like to give them a second chance. You would like to have a whole new try and start over from scratch with this person. Now, this can be a romantic relationship, of course, but it also could be a friendship. It could even be a business relationship that you would want a second chance at, too. For different ones of you. Next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about learning style, first of all, and then communication style. I do think that you're definitely very focused on picking up a very particular type of information right now. This may have to do with planning for something that you want to do long term. And I think that you're very good at picking up some of that information and assimilating it, putting it all together, and making good practical use as well. La da 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 da. Communication style. I think that right now your communication style is a little bit playful, but also very witty. I think there is a lot of laughter and cheerfulness in your communication. And I think that in between the laughter and the cheerfulness, you are fitting these little nuggets of information that if somebody's paying attention, they could really make good use of. And I think you're also talking about some of the things that you're learning, and you're putting some kind of structure into place in your life through some of these things that you're learning about. And I think you're talking that over with somebody else too. Putting structure in your life. It's sort of, it may include a little bit boundaries, but I think there's more going on with that. There's more of, I think you're talking about creating some type of routine that works out. And to me, this kind of ties in with the whole environment thing where, you know, you and this other person are trying to share the environment, but you guys are really like diametrically opposed. You're pretty much opposites. And so I think you guys are, you're really coming up with ideas about how you can put structure into the environment so that both of you are comfortable and happy together in that environment. All right. La da 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 da. Next, we're going to look at work, and if you remember from earlier in the video, work has to do with those things that you do to make a living or feel productive in the community. And then we also have work that has to do with making us feel more happy and satisfied with our own personal characteristics. So, as far as work in the community, I do feel like you're investing a lot in the work that you're doing to actually bring money in. So you may be starting a business and just putting out that first initial investment to get things stabilized so that you have a structure for the cash flow to come in. You may be putting in a lot of energy and effort on a project, and the payday is after the project is complete. But I do see a lot going out. I don't see much coming in yet. And I think this has you a little bit on edge. You're feeling a little bit emotional, and you're losing sight of the logic of why you're doing what you're doing, because you're getting a little bit panicky about the numbers that you're seeing going out right now without enough coming in to make you feel like things are stable just yet. Now, inner work. I think you're realizing that there's something that you have really felt apathetic about putting any energy or effort into changing or healing in your life or in your own perspective and how you handle things. And I think you're coming to that point of not only recognizing that, but also accepting that. And that's a good, that's a good first two steps. Recognize, accept. After you've accepted that, okay, this is part of me, this is how I am, this is what I do, then you can look at, well, why is that, and what can I do to change that? So definitely some deep inner work going on here, but right now I don't think we're seeing a lot of changes because of the deep inner work. But we are seeing internally, we're seeing you recognize, okay, this is an area that I want to make some improvements in, and really getting to the bottom of exactly the extent of how much improvement you want to make in that area. Okay, next thing that we're going to look at here, Sagittarius, is going to be where you're growing and expanding in this particular time frame. And this is July 19th through the 25th. I think I said that earlier. I hope I did. Sagittarius, I think you're letting go of a little bit of the control that you normally have. It looks to me like there's somebody or something that has come back from the past that's around, and you're enjoying this somebody or this something. You're enjoying, first of all, the memories from the past, but you're also enjoying interacting with whoever is bringing those memories back, or whatever it is that's bringing those memories back. And I think that instead of guiding this or steering this situation, I think you are sort of taking a hands-off approach and letting things just kind of unfold organically here. You're not wanting to take control of the situation and steer it any one direction or the other. Things that you stand for, Sagittarius. Sagittarius, it looks to me like you have some kind of limiting belief or perspective around the idea of being committed to someone or something. And I think you had sort of let go of this. This is not something that you've really thought about or acted upon in a long time. But now it's coming back to the surface. And it's an idea about, that you don't want to be tied down or tethered down. You don't want to have a long contract on a phone for a cell phone plan. You don't want to have a long contract about how long you have to work with somebody, and you don't want to sign a long lease. You don't want to commit to somebody for forever and ever, amen. Like, to you, this just feels like this is just asking for trouble to get that committed to something. What if something happens? What if you need out of that commitment? And I think that this whole idea is coming up again for you. I think you had kind of let it go. You weren't so focused on it there for a while, and now it's coming back into focus again. And somebody's actually saying to you, hey, how come you're so afraid of commitment? How come you don't want a commitment? Are you a commitment phobe? And I think, you're defending, you're standing up for it. You're saying, yeah, I don't like commitment. This is why. And you're standing up for that particular belief. However, I need to point out here that this is a belief that's really limiting or restricting you, and it's something that is more in your head than anything else. So if you could change what's in your head about commitment, then commitment could actually have the potential to be a really beautiful thing. But right now, you've got yourself all balled up about it. And so since you do, because of your perspective, it's never going to have the chance to be a beautiful and wonderful and empowering thing unless you change that perspective. And it is a very restrictive, limiting perspective that you have at the moment that you're standing up for. La da da da. And I'm not being judgmental when I say that. Please don't take it that way. It's just that the cards are showing me that the only reason this restriction is here is because it's some kind of resistance that you have in your own mind that's holding you back. Now, la da da. How is somebody else seeing you? Somebody else who really cares about you a lot. This doesn't have to be a lover, although we're not going to take that off the table. It could be, depending on, which one of you it is, because Each of you is going to have a slightly different experience. But this is somebody who cares about you a lot. I do feel like for a lot of you, this is a child that is looking up at you, maybe even your child who's looking up at you and at your attitudes and thinking, that Sagittarius is just never going to get married. Sagittarius is just not going to come into any kind of commitment. Sagittarius just doesn't have the patience for that. And I feel like if this is a younger person too that's watching you and absorbing this information and attitude from you, I think that this is something that they are going to grow up with the same thing, with the same impatience for the idea of some kind of commitment or long-term collaboration with somebody. They're going to have this sort of the disdain or the distrust of it because they're watching you. They're watching how you feel about it, and they're absorbing that just like a little sponge. Okay? And that's only if the person that I'm looking at that's seeing you that way is, somebody who is much younger, a child. Now, the person that's watching you and that's feeling that way about you does not have to be a child, but in many cases I do feel like it is. Like 60% at least, if not more. Next. What we're looking at next is the pivotal point during this week where things start to turn around a little bit. I feel like somebody has shown you their true colors when we're looking at this. Somebody has shown you their true colors, and you're feeling like, you know what, this is not a reciprocal situation that I'm in with this person now that I'm seeing the real deal. And I think that you are, after you see their true colors, I think that you're preparing for the idea that, you know what, whatever comes out of this is not going to be reciprocal. It's not going to be a two-way street, and I need to be prepared for that mentally and emotionally, and maybe also even tangibly or financially. And I do see you preparing. Once you see this person's true colors, then you're getting ready. You're getting ready. You're figuring out how you're going to deal with that situation. Now, what's going on at the same time? We do have a situation that you're trying to manipulate right now. And at the same time that you're seeing somebody's true colors, I think when you see their true colors, you're feeling a little bit left out. You're feeling a little bit left out in the cold here. And you're also having a hard time manifesting the things that you want. If this is a love relationship type thing where you're feeling a little bit left out in the cold and you're realizing it's not a reciprocal thing, you've lost chemistry for this person straight up. Okay? If this is not a romantic type thing, then this is a situation where you're just not able to manifest what you thought you were going to be able to manifest out of this situation. Where you thought this would be a two-way street and there would be benefits there for yourself and for this other person, you're starting to realize there are not the benefits there for you. Okay? Also happening at the same time. Wow, we've got some really confusing stuff going on here. How is this all working together? Yeah, okay. So during the same time frame, while we've got this, somebody is showing you their true colors and you're preparing for, okay, this is not a reciprocal thing. I can't count on it to be reciprocal. This person is also coming to you and saying, hey, I'm really into you, or hey, I think we could do this really great business deal, or whatever it is. They're coming to you with some kind of offer. And I think they're presenting it as a reciprocal offer where it's mutually beneficial. But I think because you've already seen their true colors, you already know they can pretty much say anything they want. They're blowing smoke. All right? And it looks like you have already taken some time to sort of process after you've seen their true colors. You've taken some time and you've stepped back and gotten a little bit of distance so that you can process and figure out, this is this person's real number. I get it now. So when they come at you with this offer, whether it's romantic, business offer, whatever kind of offer it is, you turn away from it. I think you just straight up pass. I don't think you mince any words about it either. Okay? Now, let's see what you're doing towards the end of this week, Sagittarius. You're putting down some kind of responsibility, and you're feeling really depressed about not being able to fulfill this responsibility. There's something going on where you care about somebody greatly, but you know that you just can't keep carrying the burden because nothing good comes out of that. And so even though you're used to being able to carry the burden and being able to help people and solve their problems, you're realizing that nothing that you can do is going to solve this person's problems. They have to solve them themselves. And so even though you care so much about them, you are letting them carry their own responsibilities, and you're not carrying them for them anymore. You're setting those down once you get to the end of the week. So this seems like a week of reality checks, of responsibility, of really adulting, especially emotionally. Emotionally adulting is what this seems like to me, Sagittarius. All right, so let me go ahead and take a little break and come back and we'll finish this up. Anyway, that was your first time frame that we're looking at for July. Let me go ahead and wrap this up, and I'll come back in a few minutes and we'll start on your next time frame. Hi Sagittarius, we are back again. This time we're going to look at the time frame from July 26th through the 31st. So we've got a 6-day time frame for that. And we are going to view it in very much the same way as we viewed the last 2 time frames. So nice in-depth dive to see what else is going on, what's on your mind, what's happening at home, what's going on in work, and anything else that comes up. Let's see what we have. Okay. La da 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 la da da da. Alrighty, so Sagittarius, from July 26th through the 31st, what we have going on in the home. In the home. It looks like, sorry about that, it looks like you're taking control of some kind of situation with somebody in the home that you are, well, in the environment. Probably home, but could be work or school. Okay, so there's somebody in your environment that you're taking control of the situation with. You want to see some steady progress with this person, and right now it looks like they may be a little bit falling backwards or spiraling out a little bit. And this is going to be somebody who has some type of problem with an obsession, an addiction, or they have a mental health issue. And so you're taking control, trying to take little baby steps forward with them to bring some progress into the situation that you have in the home. Well, in the environment, excuse me. Probably is in the home, as much as I can't get away from saying that. La da da. Usually that's not such a big issue for me. Okay, next thing that we're looking at talks to me about your subconscious leanings. There is a situation where somebody has made a judgment about you that has not been fair. This can be a situation where you put in, you applied for a job or applied for a promotion. This could be a situation where you went for a loan. This could be a situation that somebody that is a decision maker in the family has made a decision about you, or at work. But there's been some kind of decision that's been made about you or about some type of behavior that you have, and the decision came out in a not fair way. It came out to be corrupt, and it definitely is not in your favor. And I think that this is taking away from you some hopes about some of the hopes that you had around this situation and the goals and the dreams. You're seeing that this is going to be a lot more difficult than what you originally had thought. And I think that you may even be moving away from the situation where this decision was made so that you can have a chance to start over with whatever it is that your dreams or your targets were. And all of this is going on in your subconscious. So I'm not sure that we're seeing any action on it yet, not July 26th to the 31st. This is just something that we're thinking about, that we see you planning about, that you're figuring out. It's sort of like you're working this like it's a Rubik's Cube in your subconscious. Once it gets solved, once your subconscious has figured out, okay, this is how we're dealing with it, that's when you pounce forward. But for right now, this is just something that your subconscious is working on. Now, we may see later on in the week that you take some action. I'm not going to take that off the table, but I'm just saying, as far as what I'm looking at right now, these are just things that you're thinking about, not things that we're seeing action on just yet. All right. Next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about communication. Communication and learning styles at this time frame. We're actually going to start with learning styles. You have a very able mind. You're able to pick up new information and really assimilate it and build on that new information very quickly. I think that you're letting curiosity lead you into the things that it is that you are finding out that are new. So curiosity is leading you into finding out the things that you're looking for during this time frame. As far as your communication style, I do think you're doing a lot of communication. I think you're communicating in a very beautiful way. Some of you may even have some kind of singing performance or poetry performance. But there's definitely, if there's not something artistic and creative about your communication, then it's definitely something that you're being careful and tactful, if nothing else. Okay. I also feel like your communication during this time frame is very strong. I don't think people can miss the energy behind the things that you're saying. And I think that, I think that you're communicating profusely. Nobody can complain that they didn't know something that was going on, because you are definitely getting word out about anything and everything that somebody around you might need to know. Okay, so that's what we have for learning style and communication style. Both of those very strong, going very strong during this time frame. Strong and positive. Alrighty, la da da da. July 26th through the 31st. We're looking at work. What's happening here? Huh. Sagittarius, there's something going on at work where there's a major shakeup. Okay? And I think that with this major shakeup, you are very happy about this. You're very happy about this. I think that there has been some long-term tension at work that has been building, and with this major shakeup, that ends whatever is that tension that's been building and maintaining over time. Isn't that interesting? Before I was seeing you working, really on your own thing and focusing on your own thing. This, to me, is not about... I don't think this is about your own thing. If this was your own thing, you wouldn't be so happy about the major shakeup, I don't think. I think you could have like a change of management in some place where you're working for somebody else, and it's really, that change of management is really a good thing. You may even be getting promoted and moving up into a management position after this shakeup happens. Either way, whether you're moving up or not, I see you being very happy about this whenever we're looking at work on the outside. Now, as far as inner work, you're definitely having a major change of perspective about something that before triggered you and caused a lot of negative emotions, hurt feelings, those types of things. Emotional injury, maybe even was emotionally traumatic to you. You are definitely having a change of perspective around those things. You are figuring out why they triggered you, and you're bringing yourself into some healing around these emotional traumas or tragedies that you have weathered, and you're coming out the other side of them with a lot more strength and power. Yeah, that's how I want to say that. That's how I want to say that. And self-confidence, definitely. Okay, next we're going to look at that part of your personality, which is being grown or expanded right now as we go through this time frame. Ooh, look at that. And here's a card that talks about self-confidence, being in a really good place, being very comfortable in your own skin. We were just talking about that. That's actually, you know, growing as you come through the inner work situation. What's going on here? It's interesting. There's definitely something going on with people who are in your tribe. Now, for me, I think a lot of you will understand this. Tribe are those people that we consider family that we're not blood related to. Okay? And there's a lot going on in your tribe that are not, things just are not happiness making. There's betrayal, there's backbiting, there's stuff going on that just is not happiness making. And in the midst of this, you're comfortable in your own skin. You're doing your own thing and feeling just fine about who you are. It's like you're staying above the fray. I don't think that we actually have anybody that is backstabbing you or betraying you. I don't think that you're happy with your tribe because it feels like there's just a lot of drama going on around you. But I feel like you're staying above the drama, like you're refusing to choose sides. You're refusing to mix in and become a part of that whirlwind of cray-cray. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not having its impact on you. I think that this is very upsetting to you to see all of this, to witness all of this, and to have people kind of trying to pull at you and say, you know, be on my side, choose me. I think all of this is definitely having an impact on you. But at the same time, you're just too comfortable being you, and your own peace is too important to you for you to sink into the depths of whatever this drama is that's going on within your tribe. You're just not going to do it. Your own peace and happiness is too important for you to sacrifice it for somebody else's petty bickerings. And frankly, bullshit. Okay? All right. You know, and the other thing is you're dealing with a lot. You've got a lot going on at work too. Like, and then your tribe is supposed to be acting all cray-cray. You don't have time for that. You don't have time to be getting in the middle of that. You've got to take care of your business. You got to take care of your stuff. And that's really coming up here. Like, you're not sinking to that level. Okay, let me move on. I kind of got fixated there, but let me move on. Next thing we're going to look at are those things that you stand for. Oh, yeah. I thought I was going to move on. I'm really not. What it shows is that you're detaching from all the drama. You're not putting your 2 cents in. You're just kind of holding back. And you're also not letting people just come to you and just gossip their minds out to you. You're holding those boundaries. You're like, you know what, this is pointless. Don't be coming at me with all of this silliness. And somebody's saying to you, how come you're not getting involved? Isn't this important to you? Aren't these people important to you? How come you're not getting right in the middle of this fray? And you're defending yourself for staying above it. You're explaining to them why you don't think it's important to be. And actually you think it's important not to be in the middle of it. Okay, how this person sees you, Sagittarius. They see you as stepping away and investing time and energy and effort into your own self. They think that you're going to let down your guard sooner or later and get into the middle of the fray, but not now. And they do feel like you're going to wait until the time is right. And it looks to me like they're expecting that you're going to wait until the time is right. And when I say the time is right, they feel like you're going to wait until things just get completely out of hand and people are beyond control and things are just about to go straight off the edge of the cliff. And then you're going to come in with some logic and with some sound, very blunt words and just take care of business. That's what this person is expecting from you. Even as you explain to them, this is why I'm not getting in the middle of it. Okay? They're not thinking you can really stay out of it. They're thinking you're going to come in when everything is, once you see that these people aren't settling things themselves and that somebody's going to have to come in and settle things, they think that's when you're going to come in and settle things. And it looks to me like they feel like you have the authority to come in and settle things at that point, and that people will listen to you and will respect you. I still feel like you're just not up for that. I think they're wrong in assuming that you're going to step in. I think you're going to let these people do whatever they need to do. And I think that you think it's sad, but if they have to totally alienate themselves from each other, well, that's their deal. That's their responsibility. I don't see you trying to sort them out. Like I said, you've got enough on your plate. You don't have time for all that kind of silly drama. Okay, let's look at the pivot point of this time frame. Oh, this is powerful, Sagittarius. You're forgiving and letting something go and being very patient with someone from the past. Someone from the past that you're not particularly happy to see. Like, they didn't create a lot of good memories in the past. They probably mistreated you. And when they show up, you are being very patient with them. You're being very kind with them. You know, you're not flipping the bird and slamming the door in their face. You are forgiving them. You're letting bygones be bygones. And you're being kind to them. I'm not saying you're giving them exactly what they're asking for or what they want, but you're being kind to them. You're not being mean to them just because they showed up. At the same time, what else is going on? You're really staying in a very logical state of mind, Sagittarius. And it looks to me like somebody's coming to you. This may even be this person from the past that is coming to you. For some of you, by the way, this is going to be a sibling. Not all of you, but 20 to 30% of you. And I think this person is going to be asking for your advice or your guidance on some kind of situation. And they want, you know, they need some kind of logic or scientific type of advice. And I think you are going to be giving them some of that type of advice, definitely. I think that normally you would not. I don't think that you volunteer advice, but I think that once this person asks for advice, then you go ahead and you open up and you pass that along. Okay? And I do think that this is the person you're being patient with from the past. Like, they didn't treat you very well from the past. And you're being patient with them, and you are giving them this advice when they ask for it. Now, what else is going on during this time frame? Some of you have somebody that you used to have a commitment with, or maybe you have a commitment with now, that is asking you if you can make things better. Like, if you guys had put this commitment on the back burner, they're going to be asking you if the two of you can be putting it back on the front burner and paying attention and making it a priority in your lives again. If this is not a commitment that's been put on the back burner, maybe you guys have just been going through rough times with this commitment, and this person is saying, you know what, can we do things a little bit differently so that we can make things better? And they're coming to you saying, I'm willing to put in the energy and the effort to do this. I don't think that you are wanting to. And once again, I do think this all has to do with this person that's coming in from the past. You're being patient with them. You're forgiving them. You're being kind to them. You're giving them the advice that they're looking for. However, you're not ready to recommit with them or to up the commitment level with them. You haven't forgotten what happened in the past, and you just don't see how that would work moving forward. Now, what do we see towards the end of this time frame for you, Sagittarians? Okay, so it looks like by the time you get around to telling this person, I don't feel like putting that kind of energy or effort into our situation, then they go ahead and they leave. As quickly as they've showed up, they leave. And I think this feels like a reward to you. This makes you feel very happy. Bye-bye. I feel so much better now that you're gone. Isn't there a song? That's not the way the melody goes. There's a Tom Petty song with lyrics like, let's see, and I'll feel so much better once you're gone, or something like that. I don't know. You'd have to Google and see, but this is what it comes up here. Like, this other person leaves after you've been honest with them and said, I'm not gonna. And you're very happy. You're very happy about them leaving, and it feels wonderful to you. It just feels like payday that they have hit the road. Look at the smile on this lady's face. That's happy. That's satisfied. And look at the bounty in her basket. She's like, yep. It feels so good that they're gone. I feel like a rich woman now that they're gone. Maybe they even brought you gifts before they departed. I don't know. Or maybe you were just able to get back to work and do your normal thing to have your cash flow flowing. Either way, it's very beneficial to you whenever they leave, and I think you're happy and you're relieved to see them hit the road. Hit the road, Jack. And don't come back no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. All right, Sagittarius, that is the end of your month. Thank you all so much for spending some time with me. Feel free to come back and check out, update, these different time frames when they get a little bit closer for you. Thank you for all the thumbs ups on these videos. Thank you for sharing these videos with other people who may find them helpful. And of course, thank you for subscribing if you would like to see videos like this again. And thank you to those of you who are ordering private readings from me. It is because of all of you guys' support at every single level that I'm able to do what I love to do for my living. So thank you very much. Everybody have a fantastic month. And if I don't see you here for a private reading, then I'll see you back on the next video. Peace out.